Those of una when they call Tinubu T-Pain, one of the aid wey they call Sunday Dare don burst out, come let us know say President Tinubu dey feel una pain. No be my own o. He say dey feel una pain for the country. He say make una no feel say the president abandon una. He say dey feel wetin una dey feel. Say dey feel the shege when he push una into. Say so make una see pay a little more sacrifice, a little more be patient, a little more, a little more.
Thanks so much. It's good to see you.
Good evening.
The last time you and I sat on this table was a long time ago in the same newsroom.
Absolutely. Some years back.
Some years back. Interesting.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Former minister, now special advisor. There are those who will think maybe it's a downgrade into what you have soared into in your life at some point. Is it actually?
It's not a downgrade. It's a call to national service. I think the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Tinubu, can summon anyone to play a critical role. It's a call to duty. And that's the way I say it, a call to duty to help in the administration, effective administration of this country at a time like this, when we're going through reforms that are necessary. And that's the way I see it.
So, I mean, you don't see it as such, but those who say, can a former minister now become a special advisor?
That shouldn't be an issue at all, because when you look at it in the past, we've seen presidents call on Nigerians to come and play a particular role. And President Tinubu, beyond me, has also invited several other people who had held higher positions in the past. So it's a non-issue. I think what's important is that for the president to repose that trust in me, to come back and be part of what he is doing, that for me is what is the most critical. And I think that I haven't been in government before. Governance is a continuum. You understand? And there are issues that have to be dealt with. You inherit certain things, and then you continue to reform until you have a country that functions the way we want it to function. And I think every Nigerian should be ready to answer that call of duty from whoever is the president of our country. And right now it's President Tinubu, and I'm glad to take on that responsibility with a theme that is already in place.
So when you got a call from the presidential villa and they said, hold on for the president, what was it that he told you?
There was no call. The president is my father. Recall I'd worked with him before. So it was simply, it's time to come and be part of this team. And even before then, the job of working for Nigeria had not stopped. I'm a patriot. You don't have to have a position before you can support your government. How many people can be in position?
But what did he tell you exactly?
Well, basically,
I assume that you met him face to face.
I did. And he's somebody I know very well. I've had opportunity to work with him in the past. I've monitored his programs and reforms. But beyond that, I know him to be an unrepentant progressive. I know that he places a premium on good governance. I know he's a compassionate leader, but one that is unafraid to take risk. One that over time has prepared for a time like this, because he was forged in the crucible of the struggle. But beyond that, he was also forged in the crucible of democratic governance, of bringing development to the people. So he's somebody that is not unfamiliar with power. He's somebody that's unfamiliar. He's not unfamiliar with the challenges that come with being in power and taking tough decisions. He's somebody who does not play to the gallery. I can tell you up front, he's not there for the applause. He's there for history. He's there to make sure that when the story of his legacy is written, they will say there was a president who, when it mattered most, did not shy away from taking those tough decisions. And the annals of history throw up so many leaders like him who were, to some point, their policies were not popular, but after they had exited power, people see that. But I want to assure you, some of these policies we have ongoing is because they are necessary. And there's a sense of time in them. There's this saying, if you don't, you will have to take 9 stitches down the road if you don't take a stitch now. That's why they say a stitch in time saves 9. Now, we are taking this stitch now so that down the road, we'll not take 9 or more stitches.
When your appointment came, it came to some as surprise because they think that at some point you have become an outsider. The names of the likes of Daniel Buala had come up, and when you were announced, people were surprised. They said, "Oh, why Sunday Dare? Why not Daniel Buala, who has been speaking apparently for the president?"
So you must give the president the benefit of the doubt. Beyond being the president, I don't think we've had anybody who has been well tutored and prepared. Somebody who had the entire country as his political space. Somebody who was engaged at different levels, the lowest levels of the ordinary citizen to the highest, both in the intellectual and outside of it, the public and private sector. So you must give him the benefit of the doubt to decide. He takes that final decision. And I trust his judgment to say, these are the people I want to work with. And I said, I feel privileged that I was tapped.
Why public communication and orientation? Well, you have been a journalist.
Absolutely.
You headed the Voice of America, the Hausa service for several years.
Right.
We both sat in the same newsroom at television, NN24, the defunct NN24.
Absolutely.
You worked in television. You went on exile as a newspaper journalist in this country. And public communication and orientation. One would have thought that it would be exactly the job of speaking directly or to the issues that relate to journalism as to in reporting for the president in that manner. That's what one would have thought. Why public communication and orientation?
Well, I think when you look at the A to Z of communications, it's captured under public communication. When you talk about public affairs, you talk about media, they are all embedded in the public communication. They're just different flavors. So it's not a deviation from my role as a journalist. I haven't been a journalist for about 3 decades, like you said, and we worked together before at NN24 that time. So it fits within my own professional area, but also fits into the desire of Mr. President to bring on people, not just in the media, but in several other aspects of governance, to bring on people that can add value, to join the team, to work together. And that's what has happened.
It's interesting that, were you called to come and salvage the situation? It looks like it was broken, was it?
No, there's nothing broken. Even though, of course, I had the opportunity of also looking in from the outside. As a media person, as a public policy person, the system wasn't broken. And let me tell you why.
Why were you called? It wasn't broken.
Well,
the team was set up.
I was not brought in as somebody to drain the swamp. So let's get that right. I was brought in to add value to the team that already existed.
And fill a vacuum.
And every government does that. Across the world, they bring in people. Some people are taken off. And I think that process continues. This president will continue to look for people who have the kind of talents he needs to achieve the goal and objectives and the policies he has promised Nigerians to implement. And I think I see it from that angle. For me, nothing is broken. Rather, this is to make sure that we accelerate and deepen the communication and education and democratize the public space when it comes to information. You know, Sean, let me tell you, no matter how sound a policy is, if it's devoid of an effective strategic communication plan, it's going to fail. We've seen fantastic policies fail because of lack of a coordinated communication plan. We've seen some worse policies survive because the communication built around it is strong. But this time around, we have policies that are great. And on a consistent basis, we must make sure that we explain these policies, must explain what immediate impacts are, whether positive or negative. We must also set that expectant tone to say, it will take a year, it will take 2 years before this really materializes to what we expect. And that is the norm when it comes to governance.
From some of the communication on the inside that I'm privy to, it looks like you are being called to string together communication across the MDAs. What particular role are you what is your what is the breakdown of your role in government? Because you are now being seconded to the ministry to perform your role from the Ministry of Information. Is that right? Well, when that statement came out, it says special advisor to the President of Public Communication and Orientation from the Ministry of Information. That was the first time I was hearing that. Yeah. So what exactly is that?
Well, you see, the president believes in building synergy. The team, the communications, media communications team around the president is a single unit. And even before I came on, the team in the villa with the Ministry of Information were working together. And it's not about physical location. It's about the value and the work you do. That's what's important. Physical location is not. So
you are not working in the presidency. You will be working outside of the presidency. Is that right?
The question of physical location is not an issue. For me as a core professional, anywhere I'm placed, I do the work. That's one. Two, all these people in the ministry, the team in the villa, we work together because we have one principle, we have one single assignment to communicate the policies of this government effectively to the public in a way that it makes sense, in a way that the citizens of this country come to the clear understanding that for these reforms that we're having, there is an objective and it's going to be a journey.
All right. Before we get into you performing some of the roles, I needed to understand what your role is. That's why we have had this prefix to our main conversation. We'll get into you defending and getting to pay for, to get, to work for the pay.
Like I told you, my role is defined. It's no different from the work that the team has been doing.
Yeah.
You know, we're all professionals. The people that I met on that team, our paths have crossed. We've worked together for 20, 30 years. It's just that work is to make sure that we accelerate that process.
Let me allow you clear this political issue before I now go into the reasons why you have to work for your paycheck. Did you betray President Tinubu? Because it was seen as though you betrayed him.
That's begging the question. The fact that he has brought me on.
They say he's giving you a second chance.
There's nothing like a second chance.
Did you betray him?
A president? No. Why will I betray him? Somebody I served with. Somebody has
said to have stabbed him
for every appointment I took, I had his endorsement.
Did you get his blessing at the first time?
Absolutely. Before I went to NCC, I got his blessing.
You say he was reluctant to allow you go.
I don't know where you got that from.
Is it true that he was reluctant?
No.
You were so powerful. You were neither a chief of staff, you were neither a son, a PA, an SA, a media spokesperson. You were almost everything to Bola Tinubu.
Absolutely.
You were the Bola Tinubu that everybody saw.
Yes.
You were that powerful. But it was as though politically that you stabbed him in the back.
I never stabbed him.
Buhari.
Sure. I never stabbed him.
What happened?
That was a call to national duty. And it was not without his knowledge and support.
But he did not second you to Buhari. It was your own volition, isn't it?
That was a national call to duty.
It was your volition.
And I had his blessings.
It was your own political move, isn't it?
When you are appointed, it's not your own political move.
But was it
It's a call to national.
You?
Don't forget.
Politically speaking,
listen, let me explain. The APC is a party. You look at backup and look at the role Ashwaji Bola Tinubu played in the emergence of Muhammadu Buhari. And I can say clearly, without Ashwaji's role in forming the party, in making the platform to be there, in moving away from alliances, political alliances to mergers, a President Buhari will not have emerged. I talk about the resources,
was it true
the intellectual work that went into it.
Were you the one who actually did the research and proposed Buhari to Bola Tinubu?
No.
Bola Tinubu mentioned it in Lagos.
Well, it was
a team. He asked you and you were the one who convinced him about Buhari.
He said I was part of it. And I was part of rebuilding the democratic image of former President Buhari.
You sold Buhari.
So it couldn't have been only me. It was a team. It was a team.
You were the one who said you did the work.
So let me get back to
this. You
sold Buhari to Bola Tinubu, and the Niger issues came up.
You sold Buhari to Bola Tinubu and the Niger issues came up. You sold Buhari to Bola Tinubu and the Niger issues came up. You sold Buhari to Bola Tinubu and the Niger issues came up. You sold Buhari to Bola Tinubu and the Niger issues came up. You sold Buhari to Bola Tinubu and the Niger issues came up. You sold Buhari to Bola Tinubu and the Niger issues came up. You sold Buhari to Bola Tinubu and the Niger issues came up. You sold Buhari to Bola Tinubu and the Niger issues came up. You sold Buhari to Bola Tinubu and the Niger issues came up. You sold Buhari to Bola Tinubu and the Niger issues came up. You sold Buhari to Bola Tinubu and the Niger issues came up. You sold Buhari to Bola Tinubu and the Niger issues came up. You sold Buhari to Bola
that the formation of that party, the electoral victories we won in 2015 and the one won in 2019, had the writing and the imprimatur of President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So we're a party, and beyond me, several other people were also invited because we're working for country.
Did you regret ever pitching Buhari to Tinubu?
I did not pitch Buhari to Tinubu.
You did. The president mentioned it in Lagos.
No, there's a difference between pitch and the difference between when we have a candidate, Sunday, work with others to make sure that this candidate is acceptable. That is the difference.
He said,
I was part of the team.
He said he probably wouldn't have seen it if not because of the convincing that some of you did, especially you. He made mention of your name.
No, it wasn't only me. There were quite a number of people.
So easily. I don't forget things that I was.
But I was part of that. I wouldn't have forgotten. My memory is not
for those who will say President Buhari failed in that government, what would you have to say? Now you're working for another government.
Well, let me say this, and I will talk at the general level. You see, every government inherits certain things, and every government will also bequeath certain legacies on its way out. I told you governance is a continuum. Beyond the personality, I rather want to deal with what are the policies, what were the challenges of that time, how did that government confront those challenges? And just as governance is a continuum, this is a developing country. We know that our resources aren't enough to meet the things that we need to fix in different sectors. So every government comes in, you make whatever effort you can make, and you move on.
Those who said they were disappointed by the Buhari 8 years, and you were part of it.
Well, you see, it depends. Some people see the cup half empty. Some see the same cup half full.
What do you see?
Well, I think the President Buhari came, did his bit, and moved on. Just like President Obasanjo. No, don't depart from that trajectory. And Obasanjo came, did his bit, and moved on. Yar'Adua did his bit and moved on. Jonathan came, did his bit, and moved on. Buhari came, did his bit, and moved on. And I think what matters is that we have in situ right now President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is there right now as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, with the requisite experience, and I dare say with the requisite courage, to take decisions, to press the button, to take those tough decisions that other presidents did not take. And my focus right now is the current. How do we deal with this? How do we support this president who has shown clearly that he has chosen the road less traveled by other leaders, to say, I'm choosing this road that is less traveled because I know this country needs fixing.
So that road that he has chosen has left a lot of Nigerians in pain, penury, and in poverty.
Right.
And that's the road you think is right for Nigerians?
Absolutely. You know,
you don't think that your leader, the man you call your father, is leading Nigeria to
not at all.
To a road perhaps of economic partition?
Not at all. You know, history will forgive you as a leader. History will not forgive you as a leader if you do not take any decision at all. That's one. Two, when confronted with challenges and situations, do you just hunker down and shy away because you want public applause? Cheon, let's be factual. Let me go to it. You know, the subsidy was draining this country. A few hundreds were making billions out of it. Every president said they will stop subsidy. None of them did. Let's give this man some credit. We might not like it, and I acknowledge the fact that Nigerians are facing difficult times. But it's just for a period. That's one. He's taking some other decisions that...
Let's go back to the subsidy. The manner in which he went about it is what experts have criticized. How would you get into the office in the first day and remove fuel subsidy, a particular item in the economy of the country that is central? And you did it, and you almost dragged the puzzle from the bottom and everything cascaded towards the south.
John, we still have a country. But let me also say, when we choose leaders, we put our trust in them to lead. President Tinubu was elected and he earned the trust to lead. And when a leader leads, you must also trust his guts and his decisions. There are no perfect leaders
if
anywhere.
You subject it to empirical analysis, Mr. Dare, in the last 1 year, I don't know how much of these economic indices you are looking at, but for what is in front of me, it doesn't look like a nation that was handed over to the Tinubu government is the one that Nigerians are happy about.
Shaun,
do you feel the pains of Nigeria, Mr. Dare?
I feel the pains of Nigeria.
Do you see what the kind of poverty Nigerians?
The president feels the pains of Nigerians, and he has said it. He has said it repeatedly that he feels the pains of Nigerians, but doesn't stop there. He is doing something, and it's important for us to face it. He's provided options. For instance, Nelfund. There's a success story in Nelfund. There's a success story in consumer credit, which never had. There's a success story in CNG. Other countries have options. There's a success story in the 110 billion for youth development in this country. Shaun, I can go on and on. I can name at least 37 policies. This is a president that is responding. If you look at some of these policies, robust policies, and policies, let me tell you, the gestation period for policies to really bear fruit, I'm telling you, check any economics book, is between 2 to 5 or 6 years. We're just barely 18 months down the road. I think the president appreciates the sacrifices Nigerians are making. And he has not missed words, either when he speaks extempore or in his speeches.
Because the fear is that the economy is not on his knees, the economy is on its belly right now. How it will rise out of the rubble is what...
This economy will rise. And
so the question is this the Tinubu that you used to know?
Absolutely. Let me tell you, this country, when he took over this country as president, was this a perfect country? Did we not have these challenges? Was he handed a perfect economy and a perfect country?
He knew it before he took the job.
He said it. He said, I know I'm signing off. He said, I'm signing off for a tough job.
But
and what he has been doing,
what
he has been doing is trying to fix the problem. If you take your car to a mechanic and he has a problem, the mechanic tells you, go away, come back. I need to take away. And if you wait there, you will see as they take it apart and then put it together. President Tinubu has found a few areas of our economy.
Is it tearing Nigeria apart to put it together? Is that what
I said, he's taking, that way you talk about reforms. Reforms is that you move things around. That's what I'm saying. He's bringing on reforms in order to fix this country down the road. Let me say this. If you do not take the one stitch now to save 9, you will take 9 stitches later. What President Tinubu is doing right now is saving this country from taking painful stitches down the road. And it takes courage to do that. You will lose popular applause, you will get abuse and attacks, but I think that I urge him to stay consistent in that process.
So, look, this government, perhaps for those who voted for it, came in with a lot of steam, and those who revere the Bola Tinubu legacy in Lagos, who thought that there's going to be a lot grounds to cover and a lot of things will be done. But it does look that to so many also, that particular steam is wearing off. And there are those who are perceiving things as though this government is already failing. What do you say to them tonight who believe that maybe this country is in trouble in the hands of Bola Tinubu and we are headed for a disaster, considering the indices of the economy?
This country under the leadership of Bola Tinubu is headed in the right direction.
How?
This country needs fixing, and you have someone in charge who is ready to fix it. Just go down history lane. Lee Kuan Yew and several other leaders. And, you know, it's important because we're talking about leadership and leading countries that need reforms. They took very unpopular decisions, but they are decisions that are necessary. I'd said, you look at the surgeon. The surgeon uses very painful tools to carry out a surgery. Otherwise, the patient would prefer something simple and easy. But the surgeon is never distracted. He never takes his eye off the button. He does what he needs to do, stitches his patient together, and down the line. And don't forget, when there's a surgery, it takes time. Painkillers come. It takes time for that surgery to heal. But what happens at the end of that healing process? You have a better person. You have a better hand, a better leg. And I say we must look at this. This country over the decades has needed fixing. Don't forget, even 20 years ago, we had certain sectors that were broken. Go back to energy, power, for instance. I will not call names here, but I'm saying that we have a commander-in-chief who says these problems, they need stitching now, so that we'll not take more stitches down the road.
Now, you have talked about gestation period, Mr. Dare,
yes.
And you said some of these things need time.
Right.
Politically speaking, you think that this government is becoming rather unpopular, and that may cost it in 2027?
I disagree.
If it desires to seek for a re-election.
I disagree. And let me.
You don't think that is politically unpopular right now?
No, I don't think so. Really? I think what is needed is a better understanding on the part of Nigerians. That's one. Two.
Are you saying that Nigerians are not understanding?
No, a deeper understanding.
When they are in
a deeper understanding. And government is said to provide that understanding, to say we are on this part right now because we need to create a better country. That's one. That's very, very important. Secondly, here is a president, in spite of the reforms he's taken, is mindful to provide options and alternatives. And that's what you get. Let me take PMS, for instance. In America, for now, you have electric cars, because when the pump price of gas went up, 3 different grades, electric is there, then you have the CNG. Just in 2023, 33% of the cars in America ran on CNG. And it was a gradual uptake. It wasn't a 6-month thing. We just started CNG maybe less than a year. We're building the infrastructure. Albeit
very far behind in the promise of the dead timeline.
But it's moving. It's moving. You see, what's important is there's progress. There's progress.
Is there really hope in this country?
There is.
This government promised renewed hope.
There is renewed hope. Like I said, you know, some people see the cup, the same cup, some see it half empty. I see it half full.
But I mean, if you are asking that Nigerians should be more understanding, the question is that is the government and those who are leading us having that understanding to show example that things are difficult, there is no money in this nation, in the lives and the manner in which they live their lives?
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
So?
For instance,
is your principal showing
first, about 2 months ago, it reduced the travels, foreign travels of our ministers. You know, personnel costs and other, whatever is important. Just last week, it also reduced the number of cars in their convoys and the security details around them. Those are cost-saving efforts because governance is quite expensive. Again, you're seeing a president who applies himself to the issues and the problems that we have.
What about the president's life?
He doesn't shy away from it.
As the president show an example.
Absolutely.
He's been heavily criticized by the kind of vehicle he rides in, heavily criticized by the fact that he got a brand new plane. Well, not brand new in that sense.
That plane is not a personal plane. That plane belongs to the federal government of Nigeria.
I asked your colleague, Bayo Nanuga, and he was defending it about the security of the nation. But the question is,
that plane is a property
when Nigerians are dying.
Is a property of the federal
government of
Nigeria. And I think, see, beyond the purchase of the plane, sometimes we must focus on the substance of governance. You know, we can talk about cars and the rest. Even if these cars were not bought, would they have solved the problem? Would they have changed the lives of millions of Nigerians? I think what's important is you ask, do you have a leader who is abreast of development, who is applying himself to the challenges, who is unafraid and bold enough to take these decisions, and who is ready, he said it, is ready to follow through on the decisions he has taken.
There are some of those who are close to him who said, he said, if his money is not looking for one, if his popularity is not looking for one, if his political office is old enough to have seen a lot of it, but that what he wanted is to be the Lee Kuan Yew of Nigeria. But what is happening in Nigeria? Does Bola Tinubu looking like he's going to
be Lee Kuan Yew? How many years did it take Lee Kuan Yew to turn that country around?
So you're asking for how many years for Bola Tinubu to turn things around?
No, how many years, Sean?
But is it turning things around right now?
Nearly over a decade to do it. Now, you're looking at just 2 years, less than 2 years, 18 months down the road. The framers of our constitution, you must give them some credit. The framers of our constitution, our presidential system, gave a first 4-year term. and to the extent of a second and final 8-year tenure. There is some wisdom in that, because when it comes to governance, you can really achieve your plans. The first 2-3 years are the years of planting your policies and your reforms. It took Lee Kuan Yew 10 to 12 years to turn that country around.
You're saying Tinubu needs 10 to 12 years?
No, I'm saying, look, let's give him the benefit. It's just 18 months.
Should we be hopeful for the third year?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And we see the gestation, we see the actualization of some of these policies.
I want to just encourage Nigerians to keep faith with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. This is a man who is adept at governance, a man who, like I will always said, burns the midnight oil when other men of easy virtue are carousing around. This is the man I worked with for 7 years, and we slept at 5, 4, 6 in the morning.
Does he still have the energy?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Up to now, he still sleep at that time of the night?
Yes.
You need to take it easy, though.
Well, there's a job to be done.
But let me send you to him on behalf of many Nigerians.
There's a job to be done.
Let me tell you something so you tell the president. He's your principal. You talk to him every time. Nigerians are suffering.
He knows that, and he's doing something about that.
We want to see.
I can reel out the data of what is being done.
All right, congratulations on your appointment.
But they are still living extravagant life. The presidency, the government officials, they are still living extravagantly. They are not cutting down costs. The patience, the sacrifice they are saying we should make, they are not making it. They won't make only us. They make sacrifice, but they're not going to make the same thing to reflect what they talk come up from mouth. You understand? So these ones now, one of the bricklayer, when they do window dressing, give the president. Like the foot soldier or the president, like they come out, come talk on behalf of the president to paint good image of the president, but we know what they are doing. They are paid for this job, so don't be deceived.